Imagine it's a pitch-black night, 50,000 years ago. You are huddled near a fading fire inside a damp cave. Suddenly, you hear a sharp snap in the bushes outside. In an instant, your heart hammers against your ribs, your palms grow slick with sweat, and every fiber of your being is on high alert. Is it just the wind, or is it a predator waiting to strike? That electrical surge of dread you feel, that's the primal blueprint of anxiety. In our modern world, we often treat anxiety as a flaw or a disorder, but the truth is far more fascinating. This very feeling is what kept your ancestors alive in a world designed to kill them. Our brains weren't evolved for happiness. They were evolved for survival. And in the game of survival, anxiety was the ultimate weapon. Today we're going to explore why our highly advanced, modern brains are still carrying the ancient fears of the Stone Age, and why we can't simply switch off the worry. Deep within the center of your brain lies a small, almond-shaped structure called the amygdala. Think of it as your body's smoke detector. Its only job is to scan the environment for threats. For the early humans, these threats were literal. A saber-toothed cat or a venomous snake. The moment the amygdala sensed danger, it would trigger the fight-or-flight response in milliseconds. Those who were anxious, the ones who jumped at every rustle in the grass, were the ones who survived to pass on their genes. We are the direct descendants of the most worried people in history. Those who ignored the rustle, thinking it was just the wind, didn't last long enough to become anyone's ancestor. Your current anxiety is, in fact, an evolutionary success story that is simply firing in the wrong era. The problem arises when we take this Stone Age brain and drop it into the 21st century. In today's world, you aren't being hunted by predators, but your brain can't tell the difference between a hungry lion and a passive-aggressive email from your boss. When you see a notification that says, "We need to talk," your amygdala releases the exact same flood of cortisol and adrenaline that your ancestors used to outrun a predator. Because modern stressors like debt, career pressure, or social media are constant, our brains stay in a state of high alert for weeks or months at a time. This mismatch between our ancient hardware and our modern environment is what creates chronic anxiety. For an American audience, one of the deepest sources of this hardwired anxiety is the fear of social rejection. In a tribal setting 10,000 years ago, being cast out of the group was a literal death sentence. An isolated human couldn't hunt or defend themselves. Because of this, our brains became hypersensitive to the opinions of others. When you feel anxious about a public speech or feel a sting when a photo doesn't get enough likes, your brain isn't just being sensitive. It's sending an ancient distress signal that your social standing is at risk, which it equates to your survival being at risk. We are hardwired to care what people think, because for most of human history, fitting in was the only way to stay alive. Another fascinating mechanism is what psychologists call negativity bias. Research shows that the human brain registers and remembers negative news 4 times faster than positive news. Again, this was a survival tactic. It was much more important for a caveman to remember which bush had the poisonous berries than to remember which one had the sweet ones. If you miss a sweet berry, you're hungry. If you eat a poisonous one, you're dead. Today, news outlets and social algorithms exploit this bias. Even if your immediate surroundings are safe and peaceful, the constant stream of global crises on your phone keeps your brain in a state of perpetual, impending doom. This hardware doesn't just stay in your head, it physically rewires your body. During an anxiety spike, your blood pressure rises and your digestion slows down. This is because your body thinks it's more important to send blood to your muscles for a fight than to digest your lunch. In the modern world, being in this state long-term leads to burnout, insomnia, and physical illness. It is a strange paradox. The very mechanism designed to save your life is now, in a world of constant digital noise, the thing that is slowly making us sick. Our environment changed in the blink of an eye, but our biological software is still running an ancient version. But here is the most unique shift in how we should view this. Anxiety is not your enemy. Instead of seeing it as a broken sensor, we should view it as an overprotective friend. When you feel that surge of dread, your brain is actually saying, "Hey, I sense something might be wrong. I'm trying to keep you safe." The issue is that the brain is a terrible judge of scale. It rings the same alarm for a spider as it does for a mountain collapse. Once you realize that your racing heart is just an old defense mechanism, you can stop fearing the feeling itself. You can acknowledge the alarm without letting it take the steering wheel. Ultimately, this anxiety-driven brain is the reason we built civilizations. It's why we stored food for the winter, built walls for protection, and formed complex societies. Without fear and worry, we would have gone extinct long ago. Your anxiety is proof of your resilience. It is the legacy of thousands of survivors who came before you. It might ring a bit too loudly in the silence of the modern world, but its intention has always been your protection. You are hardwired for anxiety because evolution favors the prepared. Now is the time to recognize that power, understand its source, and walk forward with the courage to lead a life that is truly beyond the obvious.